constantly like moving kind of thing. It's management at its finest kind of thing. So I'm like, no, I'm good. Fast forward to January. I'm sitting we're having our little New Year's Eve theme of, family time, games, dinner, and so forth. The theme that year, women in business. Sheryl Sandberg pops up, and I'm sitting with my at the time I didn't have an iPad. I had a Kindle, and I'm like, oh, let me check out this book, lean in, download it, and I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I'll do the free, the little sample they give you. So I'm like, if I don't like this book, I'm not paying for it. That's the accountant in me. I'm being honest. I'm all free is for me. So I look at the book, I get it, I download it, and I'm like, oh, I got the whole book. I'm like, they better not charge my credit card. So I'm looking and I'm looking. I got the book for free. I never paid for the book. Book was amazing. Fast forward, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm licensed. I was originally licensed in Pennsylvania. New Jersey has a law that says that in order to have a CPA business, you have to have a New Jersey license. New Jersey is very, very difficult to issue reciprocal licenses. So I'm like, okay, well, let me call up. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun, because that means I need to now have my business in PA until I can transition. Lo and behold, I call up the lady, and she's like, oh, yeah, 4 days ago, we changed the law. You just need to do this, this, and this, and you're good to go. What? Done. Within no time flat, I've got my CPA license in New Jersey. So I'm licensed, I'm dual licensed, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Not the norm, most people have one, but it works for me. I then go to a meeting, and I'm like, oh, I'm leaving, I'm transitioning, I need one of those little fancy iPads so I can travel around. I'll get a Samsung tablet. It's a little bit cheaper than an iPad at the time. Go to a meeting, grand prize that they're drawing for, an iPad Air. I'm like, oh yeah, I never win anything. That's what everyone says. Oh, I never win anything. I come in, sit down, I'm getting ready to pack up, and they're like, oh, we're gonna draw. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna win. Nicole, oh my gosh, I think I jumped out of my seat so fast. I was like, what? I don't win anything. So needless to say, I have been able to do what I love, and all the obstacles that I've encountered have literally, by the grace of God, been opened up for me. When I've encountered something, there's always been one step ahead that says, oh, we're going to change, the laws change 2 days before, you need to get your license. Oh, you need an iPad? Oh, guess what? Come home, and I'm like, honey, guess what I came in with? An iPad kind of thing. So I love what I do. For those people that think, oh, I hate numbers, I don't like dealing with my taxes, I don't like dealing with, finances, that's what I'm here for. A lot of people right now are seeing the TurboTax and H&R Block ads. So how many of you guys thought, okay, I'm starting to see it, Super Bowl, everything else, I'm starting to see all these ads pop up, and you're like, oh, wait, it's that time of year yet? I thought it for a different reason, because I was like, oh, all those people that go to TurboTax and H&R Block can get overcharged, kind of thing. So when I saw on Facebook, Claudia had a different speaker that was going to come that wasn't able to make it, and she needed a speaker to talk about taxes. I was like, oh, I can do it if you're interested. So that's why I'm here. I wanted to take a few minutes. Like I said, I can talk and talk and talk. What I wanted to do was kind of give everyone a guideline for those people that don't necessarily like dealing with their taxes, or even those that have said, I pushed it off for a couple of years and I really need to get caught up. The biggest thing to remember is, even though you didn't file.
Somebody asked a question in French about taxes, but I don't speak French, so I just wanted to let you know there's people from all over the world watching you right now.
I don't speak French either. I did get Rosetta Stone for French. That's a funny thing, is I did get it, and my husband speaks Creole.
The person is giving you a bunch of hearts right now.
I can actually read it better than I can speak it. So when I went to France after I graduated, my freshman year of college, I would have like the concierge write what I wanted down on a piece of paper, and I could read it and make sure it didn't say, this is an American, take advantage of her. And then I could translate it back, but to actually like speak it, Rosetta Stone is going to be my friend soon. I would say that it's in my purse, but I can't guarantee it, because that purse is really big and stuff gets lost sometimes. So everyone should have at their table a checklist. And this is what I usually give to clients, either current clients or those that are interested in getting their taxes done. And I email it to people so they can print it out at their leisure. I just happen to print it so people can see a hands-on copy. Basically what it does is it kind of helps prepare you for tax time. It tells you the things to think about that you may not have realized that you can write down. Keep track of all your expenses. And then on the back, it gives you examples of things that, and it's not an all-inclusive list by any means whatsoever. What you can do is go through and say, oh, I didn't think about if I'm selling inventory and I had to buy storage containers, oh, I can write that off. It's not the inventory that's just my expense. It's the containers that go into the inventory, that the inventory goes into that I need to keep track of as well. And a lot of times what people don't think about is when you're going to the container store to purchase it, that's mileage. And one of the biggest tips that I would say to people to do is, we all have our iPhones and Androids that have the calendar stuff on it. Literally, if you literally sit in there and you just say, okay, I went to the store, that's one way to keep track of all the different places you went to. And the best tip that I can give, because I do this now, is if you know that you've got to go grocery shopping, let's say at ShopRite, and then you've also got to hit Office Max as well for stuff for the business. If you start your house, if your house is here, the grocery store is here, and Office Max is here, you can count that full ride as a business expense. If the grocery store is in between, you've made that stop, you still had to go to Office Max. So that full thing, even though you're doing your personal shopping for your house, that stop in between counts. So you can take that whole thing and make it a 2-for-1. So make it where you're maximizing your expenses by starting at home, stopping to do your groceries, going to get your business supplies, and then going back. So instead of it being that, oh, I went to the store, I left home, I went to Office Max, and then I went back home, and then I had to go back out to go to grocery shopping. If you do it all as one, you can count it. If you do it separately, you don't get to count that trip from your house to the grocery store. You had a question?
Yeah. Do you know if there's an app or something?
Yes, there is an app.
There is. There's one. I've been testing it. I never tell people to use things that I wouldn't use myself. That's the big thing. So I downloaded Mileage IQ app. They give you 40 trips per month for free, and then you can upgrade for $50, I believe it is. And again, that's a business expense. I've been testing it out probably for a month.
Do you like it? I've been wanting to do that because I travel almost 1,000 miles a month.
Yeah. I personally have found that I don't like it, which is only because what happens is, let's say that I start at home. I stop at the grocery store. It counts that as a stop. Then when I go to Office Max, it counts that as a stop. If I've gone back to pay attention, if I'm swiping, I may forget, oh wait, that stop for the grocery store was really part of my business expense. I may forget that, and so I'm like, oh wait, now I gotta think about this. Versus when I'm going through, I literally, at the end of the day, what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I went here. I'll literally sit on the couch and I'm like, post office, ShopRite, Target, okay. And then I use one credit card. I know Claudia says she doesn't have credit card, bank card. I use one thing, and then what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll use the mileage from my house to there to do the calculation. I don't put, oh, I gotta do this. I've learned that to be time effective, cost benefit factor, swipe my card, I've got the mileage, I've written down I have one of those huge calendars. It's ridiculous how big that calendar is. That goes along the wall, and I literally write in this. So social course is on there for today, so I know the mileage from my house to Dunkin' Donuts to here. is a business expense. And then I'm going to another thing after. So that's all inclusive. But the easiest thing, print out your credit card statement or print out your bank statement, whichever one you use if you don't use credit card. And look, if you went to that place, 9 out of 10 times you've got a corresponding date right next to it. You can calculate the mileage. Only if you like me, sometimes then like your Google Maps sends you like someplace ridiculous and you're like, wait, I spent time going around in a circle. I need to add some additional miles. That's when I may pay attention to it. But for the most part, I use the download of that spreadsheet and then my Google Calendar.
So when I drive, like I speak in Ohio every year.
Mm-hmm.
When I drive there, and I'm also with a car sponsored by a company, so I can get all those 7 hours as a business expense.
You're using a company car or your car?
I'm using usually a car that is loaned to me by a sponsor.
So you can't take the mileage on that car, but if you put gas in the car, you pay tolls, then you take that. You do get to take that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the time
That
is
mileage,
no,
okay.
no. It's on your personal vehicle that you get the mileage for. Yes.
Regarding mileage, does it always have to be from your home? For example, I was at my mom's last night. I stayed there up in Hamilton, so I came from Hamilton down here. So can I track the mileage from Hamilton down to Beneficial, or do I have to say?
You don't. It doesn't have to
Sewell,
be from your home, but you can't say the mileage from your house to your mom's because that was a personal trip, and then the mileage from your mom's to down here. But you can track the mileage from there to here. You can do that. Any other mileage questions? So if you're looking through, this will give you a good idea of different things to keep in mind. Another thing that I've found that a lot of people tend to do is they kind of stuff their receipts into boxes, or for me it's manila folders. Yes, I do get that. What I would say to do with that is there is of course, I'm drawing a blank that quickly. QuickBooks. There is QuickBooks. For some people that is a little cumbersome because it's a little high end. There's also another one as well called FreshBooks, which is a step up from, say, Excel. They can track your expenses. They both have, FreshBooks has a free version. QuickBooks, of course, has one as well. I always tell clients, see what works for you. Signing up for FreshBooks, if you're never going to use it, is pointless. Signing up for QuickBooks and paying for it is useless. Find what works for you. If an Excel spreadsheet works and you've just literally sat there and keyed it in, put in what it is, meals, or if you're not sure, I always say it's better to include the things that you're not sure of rather than say, oh, well, that's not a business expense, because a lot of times I'll find that somebody discounted something as a business expense and I'll go, well, why'd you do that? Well, I didn't think that it would count. Let your CPA, let your tax person tell you that it doesn't count. I mean, granted, don't bring me a bunch of receipts that are for meals that, oh, I felt like eating an ice cream cone today. I've had that. And they did it every day kind of thing. Don't do that. I mean, the things that you legitimately are like, oh, it was for business. Oh, I met with a client at, the ice cream place. Does that count? Yes, you can take that as meals and entertainment. In fact, you get 50%. So if you spent $10 on ice cream, you get a $5, write-off for your expenses kind of thing. So utilize Excel if that's what works for you. Utilize FreshBooks. Utilize QuickBooks. But find what works for you. Don't necessarily shove it in a box and then expect that you'll be able to walk in and get all your stuff done within a time, because you've got a year worth of stuff. And the biggest thing that I say for small business owners is that they should be looking at their expenses and their income at the minimum quarterly, because you're expected to file quarterly taxes. Nobody wants to get hit with at the end of the year, you didn't pay any taxes on your income because you're self-employed and you're getting 1099s, and then Uncle Sam comes and says, oh, by the way, you made $100,000, you owe me $20,000, whatever tax bracket you're in. It's better to break that up. We can all easily spread out $20,000 over the year than write a check, well, most of us, then write a check for $20,000. So if you know you've got seasonal work, where for most accountants and CPAs and tax professionals, this is the height of time where they generate a lot of income. So when we're doing our quarterly taxes, the amount that we're sending to the government is going to be a little higher in this quarter than it is, say, in the summertime. In the summertime, it'll be, oh, I only need to pay, $1,000, let's say, hypothetically. You want to look at it so that at the end of the year, all you need to do is bring it all together. It's not as cumbersome. You're not sitting up there thinking, oh my gosh, now I've got to figure out what I did back in January. Was I there? Did I take this expense? I don't remember if I did X, Y, and Z. It's a lot easier to do it quarterly. And if you really want to stay on top of it, at least look at your stuff once a month. Once a month, gather all your receipts. Your credit card statement comes, attach your receipts right to the credit card statement. That way they're all together. You don't have to worry about, oh, what did I do with this? Where did I go with that? Take the receipts, staple them to the credit card statement, put them into a spreadsheet, or most credit card statements now, download. You can download it right into Excel. So you've already got the setup for you. All you need to do is say it's meals or it's office supplies. Make sure that it's categorized correctly. Let me make sure I'm good on time. Oh, wow. Okay. Another thing that you'll see on that I like to do with clients is get prior year's return. And the reason why I say that is a lot of times things change from year to year. So looking at your prior year return gives your tax professional or your CPA an idea to look for. So I've had instances where someone contacted me over the summer and they were like, oh, I want to take money out of my 401k, blah, blah, blah. When tax time rolled around, I was like, wait, you should have a 1099-R. And they're like, no, I gave you everything. I'm like, no, I know that you should have it. Turns out that they did get it and they thought it was garbage and had shredded it and had to get a new one. But I knew to keep an eye out. When I look at prior year's returns, it tells me, oh, you should have had this particular W-2. Why don't you have it? Oh, well, I left that job. Or you should have received a statement saying that you paid student loan expense. Those are things to look for. So a lot of times it's not that someone's trying to see, oh, well, what did you do before? It kind of gives a guideline to say, maybe you're missing something. Maybe there's something that I should be aware of that you didn't think about, that kind of slipped your mind, to make sure that your taxes are done correctly. Yes.
I have a question. As a consultant, a lot of my income comes through 1099s.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get 80% of the 1099s I should receive. It doesn't matter, right? I should still do what I'm doing and just
you should still report all of your income.
Everything. Okay.
Right. What happens is most people will ask you for a W-9, and that basically lets them know at come this time of year that they should be issuing you a 1099. If
they
you
do ask, but they don't send it.
Well, if they ask it of you, you need to send it to them, not the other way around.
No,
so
they ask for the W-9 filled out,
and then they don't send it.
They don't send it the 1099.
If
the
slip
comes to you, they never send that.
They only need to issue it if they paid you $600 or more. They do.
Than that, yeah.
As long as you're doing your part,
so I'm good.
You're
right?
good.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You had a question?
No, I was going to say that 600.
Yes. Yes. And a lot of times too, if you transition, let's say you start out as an LLC, sole proprietorship, and you make over a certain income and you move to an S corporation. S corporations do not get 1099s. It's usually only LLCs and sole proprietorships. Yeah, they get 1099s.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? I think I've touched on, so one of the things, and it's funny because I put it into Google to come here this morning, and I didn't really think about the place. Beneficial is one of the banks that actually has free small business checking, because my business checking account is with Beneficial. I tell people, make sure you're keeping your business expenses separate from your personal expenses, especially if you have an LLC. LLC does not automatically mean that you're complete limited liability from everything. There are ways to pierce the corporate veil where people are commingling their funds and things of that nature. And someone will say, well, you're technically not an LLC, and therefore you act as though you're a sole proprietorship, so I'm going to come after your house, your car, any other asset. And then also, of course, keep in mind that if you do something that's gross negligence, that LLC goes far away. So if, Johnny operates a seafood company and he buys that shrimp off the back of, so-and-so's truck and everyone gets sick, he can't say, well, I'm an LLC, you can't come after me. You should have known better instead of buying it off of that the back of the truck. So when everyone gets sick, they can now come after you. That limited liability goes out the window real fast, kind of thing. So keep that in mind, but really and truly keep your business and your personal separate. If it means writing a check out to yourself, if you're an LLC, you cannot be an employee. So you should not be getting a W-2 from your business if you're an LLC. You can be if you're an S corporation. Just keep in mind that you have to pay yourself a reasonable salary. You can't say, oh, well, I want to pay myself as an attorney $20,000 and your business brought in $300,000 and then try and take the rest as a distribution. The IRS will come after you and they will hit you hard. You have to pay yourself a reasonable salary, and then anything above that you can take as a distribution, which is taxed at a lower rate. So as a LLC, which most people generally start at, as an LLC or a sole proprietorship, write yourself a check, taking the money out of the business, which is a distribution. Keep in mind too that a lot of times people think, oh, I'm an LLC. If I made, $40,000 and I left $20,000 in the business, I don't have to pay taxes on it. Unfortunately, one of the drawbacks is as an LLC, you pay taxes on the net income of everything. So if you have $20,000 left over at the end of the year, you're still going to pay self-employment tax on that. Only if you're an S corp can you kind of avoid that. If you're a corporation, can you avoid that? So those are some
What
of the things.
strategy you recommend? We were chatting in the beginning of the meeting. I think a lot of us are self-employed in here. So what strategy you recommend for having a successful year as far as payments and organization overall? I shared with her my strategy is always pay more than what I think I'm going to owe. That's what I do right now. But what strategies do you have? That's something that I think everybody here would love to hear.
Because a lot of times small business owners get so wrapped up in managing their business. When I say managing, meaning, making the product or, going out and meeting people, generating the revenue, they don't think about, like what I said at the beginning, they don't think about, oh, I've got, expenses, or I'm shelling out way more. A lot of times it's out of sight, out of mind, so you don't think, oh, I really did spend that much in meals and entertainment, or I really did spend that much in advertising. And then when you look at it at the end of the year, you're like, oh my gosh, I really spent that much. The biggest thing is to keep track even just on a monthly basis. Find a good CPA that offers the services where they'll check in with you. They may do a mid-year check-in to kind of see where your business is at, whether or not you're on track. If you're doing the quarterly payments to the IRS and to the state, they can see, okay, well, you're in good shape based on where your business is at right now. So you don't necessarily have to make any changes. Or they can say, wait a minute, we thought that you were going to make this, but you're making way more. We need to adjust for that. So that way you're not hit with some big expense later on down the road. If there's a major change, you should be able to call up or email your tax accountant or your CPA and say, listen, this is what I'm thinking of doing. What are your thoughts on this? There are times when clients call and they're like, oh, I want to do this, this particular seminar. And they're like, you're going to say no. And then they get surprised when I'm like, that actually is a good idea. It'll benefit you in the long run. It'll help you to generate more income from a different stream. It'll propel your business. So it's not always save. Sometimes, unfortunately, you have to invest in your business. you can't take the shortcut and say, oh, well, I'm going to do the cheapest thing possible kind of thing. Sometimes you have to, in order to move forward, you have to invest in your business.